Hey y'all, welcome to the family that reads a lot. If you watched my last curriculum video for my daughter who is in 4th grade, this is our curriculum video for my son who is in 7th grade or going into 7th grade. You kind of got an intro as far as what we're about. So if you have been here, you kind of know that we homeschool, we homestead, we vacation, we do all the things, and this is kind of what that channel is. It's a little bit of everything. So if you are here for the curriculum videos, glad you came by. If any of those other things interest you, hit subscribe and hang out with us because we'd love to have you. So I'm just gonna kind of jump into it. This is my son's 7th grade year, okay? And I'm using quotation marks because we use grade levels kind of fluidly here, okay? We have a starting point and an end point. Like when he graduates, he will be 12th grade. But what year he does everything is not as important to me. He is ahead in a lot of things. Maybe he's behind in something, I don't know. But I really don't care what year it falls on. And as you get into junior high and as you get into high school, those especially become the realities that everybody is kind of on their own level and doing their own thing. So if you see this and you're looking, you say, well, it's 7th grade, but you mentioned 8th grade things or 9th grade things. Yes, I did. That's just how this works. So I'll start with math. Now, this is not the most, beautiful, showy, fancy curriculum for math, but this is what works. We are, I guess you would call us eclectic. We use different things for every subject. I'm not the type that buys a box curriculum and locks myself into having to use it for every single subject. I don't like that. We like to do what works for us. And what works for us from one curriculum for math will not work for us for language arts or whatever. So you will see a mixture of a lot of things. For math this year, he is doing Saxon Algebra 1. This is kind of a tried and true thing that a lot of homeschoolers have used throughout the year. It is not the most current thing, but it is strong. He enjoys this. He is very much a literal kid. He is my kid he does not mind black and white, okay? When we switched to Saxon after he had finished his elementary school curriculum, I showed him multiple things that were beautiful and colorful and all of the things and more digital and all of it. And he's like, no, I don't want any of that. Give me that one. Because he uses it with Nicole, the math lady videos. So we pay for her videos. I don't pay for she does where you can do grading and you can enter answers online and all of these other things. We don't do that. He strictly watches the video, then goes in here and does his practice and his lesson practice. So after each lesson, there's a few problems that are practiced for the lesson, and then there are all the practice problems. This is a spiral method, so you learn a new topic, but then you kind of go over things that you've learned in the past, and it comes in bits and pieces, and I really, really like that. I've seen a huge growth in my kids since we switched them to a spiral method of math versus a mastery method, because from year to year they just weren't retaining it, and this has helped a ton with retention. So yeah, I get these used. I buy them on Marketplace or wherever I can get my hands on them. So this is his student booklet, and then I have a test booklet, and I do have the homeschool packet that works out the solution, or not. This is the homeschool packet that gives you answers, but it's just flat answers, and it doesn't always work everything out. I also have the solutions manual, but it's already in the homeschool room, that works everything out for you. So that's what we're using for math. For language arts, I just realized that I only brought in the first packet. He's doing the Good and the Beautiful high school level 1. Now, this would not have been my choice. However, the Good and the Beautiful, he did up to level 5. Their 6 and 7 are older versions, and I don't like the older versions as much as the newer versions. Him trying to go back and do the older versions, I feel like would have been a hard step. They're just not set up the same way. So we are doing a very modified language arts this year. The way the high school level 1 works is there's 10 of these packets, okay? And they have, reading assignments, grammar, writing assignments, all of the things included in them. And they hand these in at the end of however long it takes them to do them. They break it down, figure it out. I'm not having him do all of high school level 1 this year because he doesn't need to necessarily do a high school level language arts. But these were easier to break down than the level 7. So he is going to do the first 5 packets out of 10 this year. He's going to do 3 in the fall and 2 in the spring. When he is not doing a packet, he is going to have writing assignments and living books, Charlotte Mason books, whatever you want to call them, chapter books, like regular books that he will have to read and then to work through some sort of project with me. It may be a simple conversation. It may be me having him do some sort of hands-on project. It may be him filming a review of it. Different kind of things. I've got to come up with all the ideas. But that's how we're going to do it this year. He's going to do some longer writing assignments. I'm going to have him do, like a compare-contrast paper, a persuasive paper, a fantasy paper, like a fantasy short story, and a few other things. I haven't nailed all of that down yet, but I'm getting close. So that's what language arts is going to look like for him this year. There's also books that come with this curriculum, and so we are only doing the first 2 books this year because that's what coincides with the first 5 packets. Have I lost y'all already? Because this is really complex, and I promise you that this is not normal. We normally don't make it this difficult. This is just what had to happen this year. So the first book he's going to read is Just David by Eleanor H. Porter, that's part of that, and then Into the Unknown by Matthew A. Henson, Jacob Bull, and Bernadine Bailey. So these are the 2 books that are going to go with that. He's also going to do a book study somewhere toward the end of the year over the book Little Men from The Good and the Beautiful. I ordered their book study packet, but I will be honest, I don't love it. So I don't know if I'm going to have him do it, or if I'm just going to have him read the book and use it like we are our other chapter books. So if you've done the book study for this, did you end up loving it? I don't know. It didn't grab me, put it that way. But so language arts for him, very modified this year, but I think it's going to work out well. It's just going to be, like I said, eclectic on a very eclectic level, even for us. These are the grammar and geography cards that come with that, and this is the grammar and writing guide that comes with it. So he will use both of these throughout all of the high school level courses. These are what they call the non-consumables, so they get these and they use them year after year. And this is just like a breakdown on different writing, grammar, punctuation, usage, all of those kind of things. Verbs, forms, verb tenses, making things not too wordy, avoiding faulty comparisons, all of this. It works with them to enhance their writing. Okay, for science, I don't have it in here. I'm gonna have to go get it. Y'all hang on a second. Okay, I'm apparently not very organized today because I had to do this in the video that I filmed of my daughter's curriculum. It is what it is today, y'all. So for science, he is using BJU Physical Science. See what I mean? Nothing from the same brand here, and that's okay. We used BJU last year. It was our first year using them for life science. Or no, not last year. The year before we did life science, which was technically 6th grade curriculum, I think, 6th grade, 7th grade, somewhere in there. They have a year of earth science that's set up for 8th grade. We did earth science this year, but we did not end up using their curriculum. Personally, I think 6 months of earth science is enough. We've done earth science based units from the Good and the Beautiful Science in the past on paleontology and on geology and all of these different things. We've spent a ton of time studying archaeology. So we've covered all of that at many different areas over and over. We've studied space a ton of times, like just because he loved it and all the things. So he really didn't need a full year of earth science. So this year he did a half year of earth science, and then a half year I gave him free study of whatever he wanted to study. He picked marine biology. He studied that with living books and all of that for a year. I will say he thoroughly enjoyed this year. So going back to a full year curriculum, I'm hoping will be a good fit for us, but we will see. So this is physical science from BJU. It is a very thorough, very in-depth science. He likes the way it's written out. This is standard textbook science. If you can hear my dogs, Amazon's here. I'm sorry. But so it is textbook science. It's broken down into chapters. They have the different chapters that he reads a part of a chapter, and then he does a lab manual. There are no lambs in this physical science manual. But so then he does something out of his lab manual. Now, I bought this used. I found this on Marketplace. The person that I was buying it from just so happened to have the physical science kit that comes from, it's a different company, but she had the kit and it was basically untouched. They didn't do most of the labs. They just did the textbook. So I grabbed that from her because she gave me a really good deal on it, and we'll see how much we use that. We're going to do the labs, but we'll see how much out of the kit we really needed versus having a lot of it here. So at any rate, that is his science this year. We're not doing videos or anything for this. I asked him if he wanted to do videos because I thought that they may help like solidify the subject and just be interesting. They're not cheap. And he said no. He said that he would rather just read the book and do his labs and get the information that way. That's the kid he is, and that's perfectly fine with me. So that's what he will be using for science. I do have the test booklets and all of that she gave me. I don't know if I'll use those, and I do have the teacher's manuals. If you use this, you very much need the teacher's manual, because unless you are super science minded, it takes a long time to check all the papers. Just saying that. Now, history for him. Like I said, I'm not sure exactly how we're going to do history this year. It may be a little different than we've done in the past. We've always done it as a group subject. He's going to sit with us as we work through what I showed y'all for my daughter, which was, we're basically going to have a spine. This is Harcourt Social Studies, the United States Making a New Nation. This is the same thing. It's an old school, just simple textbook. We are doing U.S. history from basically the Age of Exploration through right before World War I. We will discuss the Dust Bowl and the Great Depression, but we're not going into the wars. He did modern world history this past year, and so he's already learned about World War I, World War II, Vietnam, Korea, all those things. So this year is not going to be about that. This year is about the founding of the country. I still don't know if I'm going to use this particular book as our spine. I'm still looking to see if I come up with something better. But basically, we're going to sit down in the morning, read through, talk about, hey, we're talking about the Jamestown colony today, and here's the basic information on it. I hope to have a video to watch on it. And then they are going to have separate chapter books that they're going to read on it. Now, he, in addition to that, is going to have, this is America the Beautiful by Notgrass. I used Notgrass a few years ago, their elementary U.S. history. What was it called? I don't remember. But we did not love it. It was too long-winded, and my daughter in particular does not do good with long sit-down me reading to them. And that was kind of how that was set up. That is how this is set up, but that is not how we're using this. He is going to read these chapters on his own, and he's just going to read the chapters. There's all kind of extensions in here. There's questions, there's projects, there's all these other things that you can use this curriculum for. They have a Bible portion that if you want to do that, they have a language arts portion that you can write papers on the different eras and all these other things. We're not using any of that because we are doing what works for us. And what works for us is for him to get the basic ideas of what we're talking about in U.S. history, and then he's going to go in depth. So he's going to go in depth in here by reading a chapter, but they're not long chapters. Like, it may take him 10 minutes to read one of these chapters. So this is like a historic Boston chapter and goes into the basics of like the Boston Tea Party and the Stamp Act and all this other stuff, but it's less than 10 pages. Yeah, it's 8 pages that he reads, and he breezes through these, and then we discuss it a little bit. And that's what we use these for. This could be a very thorough, big, huge curriculum thing, and lots of people use it like that. That's just not what we do. And that's part of the beauty of homeschooling, is making it work for you. And that's what we're doing with this. We are making it work for us, and we're using it how we want to, because this is our homeschool. So he will read his chapter of that each day, and then he will have a chapter book that goes along with whatever we're studying. So I'm not going to get into all of those. I'm going to do a separate video because I know this video is probably getting long. But like, he's going to read Johnny Tremaine and Carry On Mr. Bowditch and Fever 1793. So there's going to be a lot of really good quality books from this time era that he will read. That's history for him. Now, he's also doing government this year. We haven't done a ton of government in our past histories, and he's getting to the age where I feel like he can grasp it and understand it and be involved in it. So this is a book that I found at the library last year. This is For Which We Stand by Jeff Foster. This was just kind of a shelf grab for me of a random thing, and I was super impressed. This is broken down into, I think it's 9 chapters, but it's the basics of what is government? What does the government look like? How does the government work in your community? How do you run for a political office? How does voting work? What does the president do? What happens in Congress? What is the Supreme Court? Who else works in the government? What can I do? So it's very, I wouldn't say it's simple, because it's not simple. It's just well done. What does the government look like? The 3 branches of government, checks and balances, church and state, political parties, all of this stuff. It's not, one of the main things I was impressed with, this is a fairly new book. It does not have a lot of political opinion in it. It is just factual, and that is not always easy to find anymore. But it's just really well done. So he is going to study this for 9 weeks. He's going to have this book. He's going to read his chapter. We'll discuss it. We'll talk about it. I have some videos I think that I've found for him, and just a basic intro to government, right? He's not ready for high school government where it's like deep and detailed and all these things. He just needs an overview. He needs to understand the workings of the world and why it's a big deal when there's an election, or why it's a big deal if suddenly this law is passed or repealed, or all these different things. So it's time for him to get that basic understanding, and I'm hoping that, I think this is going to be great. I'm excited for this because, like I said, I read through it and broke it down into days and chapters for him and stuff, and I'm just thoroughly impressed. So we did math, language arts, science, and history. And that's kind of the basics of his homeschool. I am still searching for a good option for Spanish. We live in South Texas, and Spanish just makes sense for him to learn as a language. He needs a couple years of language. But I have not found the perfect resource. honestly, the ones that I've found that are, I would say, really good are really expensive. And so putting out $300 or $400 for one class for Spanish on the junior high level is a hard sell for me. He's done Duolingo in the past. I was going to use something this year, and then at the very last minute, their setup and pricing and all this other stuff changed, and we did like a trial of it and just didn't love it. If you have a good resource for Spanish that you truly love, let me know what it is. We've done Duolingo free. We did it paid at one point for a little bit, and it was much better paid. But again, it's not cheap. It's like $100. And I don't know. I didn't feel like it was truly worth paying the extra to get the paid version. So I am curious if y'all know of anything out there. I would absolutely love to help. But yeah, this is what we are using for 7th grade. I don't know what I'm going to title this video, if I'm going to say 7th grade, just middle school. I don't know, because as you've seen, it's all on different things. But this is what we are using for 7th grade. So if y'all are using any of these things, let me know if you liked them, hated them, all the stuff. If y'all are using something different that you love, please let me know in the comments. And like I said before, if you liked what you see here, subscribe, come back, see us. We do lots of fun, interesting things here. It's more of a life channel than it is anything else. And until next time, y'all go read a lot. Thanks.